Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and the honorable judges. Right now, I would like to address a topic which is about cancel culture and whether it is social justice or a witch hunt. Now, to start off the speech, let's define cancel culture. Cancel culture is defined as the practice of withdrawing support from people or groups who have said or done something that is considered unacceptable. Now, we must all know that social injustice will exist regardless of whether cancel culture is discouraged or instead glorified. Thus, this is not a speech to clarify whether cancel culture will persist, but rather on how justified it is. Many claim that cancel culture is a witch hunt, but is that really true? Historically, the witch hunts actually caught and targeted the innocents, but does that truly apply in the case of cancel culture? What if the witch in question is someone who has harmed others and escaped consequences? Cancel culture is a way to hold guilty people accountable. Many question whether cancel culture is something that's necessary or excessive, and I say it is absolutely necessary. To add to my point, what happens when the legal system turns a blind eye? Should victims just stay silent, or should they have the power to demand accountability? This is exactly the power of cancel culture. The victims can make their voice heard, find other victims, and gain more evidence to hold the guilty accountable. If institutions turn on you, you're often left without options. But with the recent rise of cancel culture, now victims have a way to voice out their voice even if institutions fail them. To better illustrate my point, let's consider a scenario. What if cancel culture didn't exist? Imagine a world where cancel culture doesn't exist. What would that world be like? What would happen to the voices of the victims? What would happen to the powerful people who commit injustice? Without cancel culture, there will be a lot more injustice. There are many important cases that were started by cancel culture. For example, the hashtag Mute R. Kelly to protest for the single sexual misconduct. Based on the things that I've said, it's clear that injustice thrives and prevails when justice fails. And as a counter to that, cancel culture gives power to the people in need. Thus, we should stand firmly in support of cancel culture. Now you may be wondering, is cancel culture really necessary? The answer is yes. Imagine being a victim of injustice, screaming for help, but no one listens. What if the system meant to protect you turns a blind eye? This is exactly why the cancel culture exists. That is because of the failure of the justice system in the first place. It's surprisingly common for institutions to fail to get the victims the justice they deserve. In the past, these victims had no choice but to give up and surrender. And if they want justice, they have to do months and even years of protest. But now, with the existence of cancel culture, there is a way for victims that are failed by institutions to regain the justice that they deserve. The hashtag MeToo movement is an example. Many sexual assault survivors, such as those who accuse Harvey Weinstein, were initially ignored by the justice system. However, through cancel culture and social pressure, more victims came forward, leading to actual legal consequences. And recently, critics often claim that cancel culture is too extreme and is misused. However, I argue that such actions are not cancel culture, they are simply hate. Cancel culture is meant as a way to hold the perpetrator accountable, not to hate. Furthermore, if they hadn't engaged in questionable actions, would they have been cancelled in the first place? While cancel culture can be misused, its core purpose remains accountability. The solution isn't to eliminate, but to ensure it is used responsibly. The cancellation of James Charles in 2021 is an example. He was accused of predatory behavior, and later he made an apology video explaining that he thought the boy was 18, apologized, and held himself accountable for his wrongdoings. He has since improved himself. This shows that cancel culture, when done right, is about seeking accountability, not just blindly destroying reputations. And now that we've explored the impact of cancel culture, let's discuss why it remains crucial. Cancel culture creates a social justice system that is decided by the victims. It acts as a platform to give power and voices to the victims, making sure that they have their voices heard and hold the perpetrator accountable. Whether the perpetrator is powerful or just ordinary people. There are some cases in which it's too minor to call the police, but it's certainly a misdemeanor. For example, workplace harassment and catcalling are examples of misdemeanors that are often ignored by authorities. Cancel culture can help prevent the early seed of crime from growing. In conclusion, cancel culture is not about hate, it is about justice. When institutions fail, society must step up. We must use this power responsibly, ensuring that accountability, not blind distractions, remains at its core. So the next time you hear someone say, cancel culture is just a witch hunt, ask yourself, are we hunting witches or are we finally giving the powerless a voice? That is all, and thank you for your time.